Every day, people across this country and around the world take in animals from rescue shelters to give them a better life.
Yeah, one Sioux City man brought home a special dog who has impacted him greatly. And now that special dog is in the running and could be named America's greatest pet. KTIV's Irvin Doman shares their story.
Ernie is the dog to my right. Ernie is also a dog who had been rescued by Noah's Hope in Sioux City. Now, through his whole journey, he may be America's favorite pet.
Just sent them a picture of Ernie, one of him looking so proud and regal. He won. He has won his position in his group.
The award is given by America'sFavoritePet.com. Ernie made it to the quarterfinal round and has a shot at being the top dog. But Ernie had not always been in the healthiest environments.
His entire life he was, living in a cage, never knew love or friendship. He was treated like livestock, and he was herded from cage to cage with sticks.
Ernie was very timid and afraid when he was brought to Mark Solheim, a Sioux City resident, in December of 2017. As Ernie became more comfortable with Mark, it became evident what kind of relationship was forming.
I don't own animals. They're part of the family. I may pay a fee to get them out of jail, kind of like bail. But I don't own these guys. They are my friends, and they're my family.
If Ernie goes on to win the title of America's favorite pet, Mark and Ernie will cash $5,000. The money would be donated to Noah's Hope, because money can't buy the bond shared between Ernie and Solheim.
Well, can you see? Look at his eyes. I mean, when he stares at me with those eyes, you can see it. It's just filled full of love. Isn't that right? Huh? Aren't we best pals? Aren't we buddies? Yeah, we are.